Welcome aboard, grab a seat, it's Archie the School Bus Man, and I've got a new thing I'm going to be doing now. 10 things you might not know. Actually, it's 10 things this episode. The first episode is 10 things you might not know about The Wizard of Oz. Why The Wizard of Oz? Well, because I've been reading the book, The Wizard of Oz, the actual book, the first one. I haven't read any of the classics. I'm thinking, why have I not read these books? So I've been reading Peter Pan and Robin Hood and The Wizard of Oz. As I'm reading The Wizard of Oz, I'm thinking, man, there is a lot of stuff in here that's not covered in the movie, and the movie takes some artistic license as well. So I thought, you know what? What are those things that you might not know about The Wizard of Oz between the book and the movie? So, let's do it! Number 10, it's violent. In one part of the book, the Tin Man actually cuts off the heads of 40 wolves that the Wicked Witch of the West has sent to destroy them. And not only that, she also sends 40 crows after the group, and the Scarecrow stands out in front and grabs them all out of the sky and snaps their necks. That's crazy. Number 9, there are 2 good witches. One is Glinda, the one we know, she's from the south. And the other one is Gayelette, she's from the north. Number 8, there are 4 nations in the world of Oz, and there are 4 people that live in those nations. The East, which is run by the Wicked Witch of the East, live the Munchkins. That's why you see the Wicked Witch of the East get killed in the world of the Munchkins. The Winkies, yeah, I know. They're ruled by the Wicked Witch of the West. She takes over the Winkies and makes them all her slaves. The world of the Gillikins, they're never mentioned in the book. I've actually found this up online. They're not mentioned in the book, but they're ruled by the Good Witch of the North. And that's Gayelette. Now, she meets Dorothy after the Wicked Witch of the East is killed, which isn't in the movie. In the movie, you see Glinda. The Quadlings. The Quadlings are ruled by Glinda in the south. So, you've got the Munchkins in the east, you've got the Winkies in the west, you've got the Gillikins in the north, and you've got the Quadlings in the south. Number 7, the Emerald City wasn't all green. In fact, in the book, Dorothy and her friends are required to wear goggles that are emerald green goggles to make whatever's not in the city green look green. So everything in the city is not green. So if somebody's wearing a white dress, it appears green because they're wearing the emerald goggles. So the entire city is not actually green. Now in the movie, they don't state that, and you do see different things that are not green. But in the book, it's implied that everything you see is green, even though it's not all emeralds. Number 6, the Wicked Witch of the West actually had one eye. The way her eye worked was like a telescope, so she had the one eye covered. But the eye that worked was like a telescope, and she could see clear across her land because she actually sees Dorothy and her friends breaking into the world of the West to come and get her when Oz has told them to banish the Wicked Witch of the West and kill her. Number 5, there's a whole slew of mice, and they have a queen, and when they go through the poppy field, I'll mention that later, when they go through the poppy field, the Cowardly Lion actually falls asleep. They can't get him out because he weighs far too much. So what happens is, it takes a few thousand of these mice to drag him out. The Tin Man makes a little chariot out of wood and ties all these mice to the chariot, puts the lion on the chariot, and they drag him out of the poppy field. And then he slowly wakes up again. So a whole bunch of mice save the lion. Number 4, relating back to the poison poppy field, the actual poison poppies were not made by the Wicked Witch of the West. She didn't poison them. They were already poisonous because of the way they smell or whatever some chemical compound is actually in them. So the poison poppies themselves weren't actually put there by the Wicked Witch of the West. They fall asleep in there, Dorothy and the Cowardly Lion fall asleep in there, and it's got nothing to do with the Wicked Witch, according to the book. Number 3, the heroes that visited Oz, they do this over 4 days. Now when I say Oz, I mean the actual wizard. So he says he won't meet them all at once, like you see in the movie. He meets them individually on 4 different days, one after the other. And they each see a different version of Oz. So in the movie, you see a giant head. That's the one that Dorothy sees. When the Scarecrow goes to see Oz, it's a lovely lady that he appears as. He uses different techniques and tricks to make them all see different things. Tin Man sees this beast that's got a bunch of arms and legs and it looks rather ferocious, and the Lion sees simply a big ball of fire. So they each see a different thing on each of the 4 days that they go to visit him. Number 2, the winged monkeys actually worked for Dorothy. In the book itself, there is a golden cap that gives you domination over the winged monkeys, that you can make them do your bidding, but you can only do this 3 times. The Wicked Witch of the West used it 3 times. The first time she used it to enslave the Winkies, as we mentioned before, and they became her army. The other time was to drive Oz out of the West. And then the third time, she uses them to capture Dorothy and the Lion and bring them back to her castle, and she uses them to destroy and basically tear apart the Tin Man and the Scarecrow. Dorothy, upon defeating the witch and melting her, yes, she actually does melt her, she ends up taking the cap and using it to return back to the land of Oz, to get out of the West, because there's no actual path to go to the Wicked Witch's land in the West. So she uses that to fly them back to the land of Oz, where they go back to the Emerald City, so they get dropped off in the Emerald City. Her second request, they deny because they can't do it, which is an obvious one because she requests to go back to Kansas, and they can't do that because they're magical creatures and they can't go to real-world places. So she's used that up twice. On their travels to go find Glinda, they actually meet up with a group of creatures that are called hammerheads that keep using their heads and pounding them into the Tin Man and the Scarecrow, so they can't get past these people to get over the hill. She calls them one last time, so she calls the monkeys and they fly them over into the safe area beyond these hammerheads. And number 1, between the book and the movie, there were no ruby slippers at all in the book whatsoever. The only ruby slippers that you see are the ones that are in the movie. In the book, after you get the house dropped on the witch, Guyalette and a couple of munchkins meet up with Dorothy, and they say, oh, look at this, you've destroyed the Wicked Witch of the East, and on her feet are silver shoes. So after the witch shrivels up, which she does because they say that she's very old and her evil was keeping her alive, they take the shoes and they give them to Dorothy with a suggestion that there's probably some magical properties to these shoes. There are no ruby slippers in the book at all. It's silver shoes. So there we are. 10 things you might not know about the Wizard of Oz. Share a smile and take care of each other. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now. It's Archie the School Bus Man. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure to rate, comment, share, and subscribe by clicking on that school bus. Until next time, live your sunshine and have a wonderful day.